this is a couple of best friends hanging out. Thank you all for tuning in again. I know this week we've got another late start. Work sucks right now, but that's all right. There's ebbs and flows in all aspects of life. Luckily, we got Stu and Adam on the mic, dropping it like it's hot, giggling galore. There's nothing more infectious than other people giggling, right? Like intoxicating laughter, just intoxicating smiles. It's hard not to smile when you see somebody smiling fat. Hard not to giggle when somebody's giggling like crazy, unless it's at your own expense. Then I guess I wouldn't giggle along. But maybe I guess sometimes I get pretty mad. Anyways, here we are. It's Friday night. What do we have to do other than podcast? Am I right, boys? That's actually, my gig. We got Colin and Brad. They're out on an island right now in the Channel Islands. That's pretty epic. Other people are probably getting ready to eat dinner. Bacon, poor Bacon. He was amped up, ready to record when I got home. He was kind of like a puppy dog, or maybe like one of those like older dogs. Like not super old, but an adult dog ready for his owner to come home. That's me in this analogy, and he's excited to record. However, he's also dying right now. He's like getting all of his stuff, coming in, sniveling. I think maybe my Belgium cold finally caught up to him. He's a little stronger than I am, so he was able to hold it off for a little bit longer than I was able to. Hit me early. But yeah, so he's dying on the couch right now, just watching, what show is it? Harry, that serial killer. Bill Hader just won an Emmy for. It looked pretty interesting, actually. I was doing some of my prep work while that was on, and I think I might dabble. Yeah. So let's see who else throughout the league. Pebbles, yeah, probably doing dinner with the wife. Max, probably the same. We know O'Malley's not doing shit. He's either at the gym or playing video games. Not World of Warcraft still, like a dick. Can't wait to finish this podcast so I can hop online and play with my real friend, Ian Ladner, and Hawken. We got a nice little squad of 3. Could use more. Always recruiting. Look alive, boys. Friendship can span many miles through the World of Warcraft. Anyways, before we start to get into any of the real business, we got to thank today's sponsor. Today's show is brought to you by Unruly. What happens when a White Claw and a Truly get together and fuck? You get Unruly. This collaboration of hard seltzers has provided an entirely new platform to get white girl wasted without shame or fear of repercussions. Get Unruly today. That's awesome. I actually am sipping an Unruly as we speak. They sent over a couple cases. I'm loving what they're doing. The carbonation is just what the doctor ordered, and the flavors are just right. Just, I don't know. I'm into it. I'm into it, boys. So let's start out with what happened last week. I went 3 for 3 on my picks. I lost to stupid ass Evan. It was not that fun. I was watching football by myself for like 60% of the day. We had a vintage Sones appearance at 9:56 a.m. coming out of the bedroom. TVs are already set up. Games are already live. We get the offer. Hey, should I get the device? Should I throw up another game? No, we're good. All right, cool. I'm good. So we got to watch the first half of the games together. Not a lot of scoring notifications for Weave in the very beginning, and you hate to see that. That was before Mark Ingram went off. I ran into true comeback story without AB. Bummer. You hate to see that. It's all good though. It's early. I chose myself to win that matchup, and the old saying goes, always bet on yourself. I keep doing it. So far, I've only been right once. Then I had bet on Stu in the Clash of the Titans. I thought Marquise Brown was ready for a big day, and turns out Mark Ingram was in for a big day. So that one was a little bit of a letdown. Then I bet on my boy Bacon. Oh, this is great. Stu and Adam, you guys couldn't figure out Kittle and McShits. I haven't confirmed this. This is my own theory on the name, but clearly McShits has to be a reference to the McShitten trophy and the Sacco trophy, right? We'll have to get a Bacon confirmation on GroupMe, or maybe next week he'll confirm. But I'm pretty sure that Adam had it right with Kittle and Bits being like the beginning of his name, and then he obviously changed it to include the Sacco. That's my theory. I think it's right. And yeah, I guess wrong. O'Malley got his first W. Somehow he found a way. Is this a sign of mismanagement from Bacon? The trademark mismanagement that earned him his Sacco last year? Or just, bad luck? Yeah, remains to be seen. It's early. It's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. It's fine. But yeah, O'Malley didn't have to depend on the Gardner Shark stack to get a W. I'm a little bit bummed by that. Then I called Bill beating Sones. I thought that this was going to be a low-scoring matchup with Bill deciding to start Jameis Winston. His fantasy defense is the most notorious and consistent fantasy player of all time, and that proved to not be the case. This was a fucking shootout. It was awesome. Unfortunately, Hawk and Cock fell short. And, well, fortunately for my picking. So I got one right there. I chose Maxwell Dunn the second over Scott's super team because, yeah, Scott's super team is super shitty. That was easy. Nothing more to say there. Ezekiel saw the deal, ran train all over poor Colin. Fuck me, right? I mean, this is another case of putting up 120 points and getting the L. You hate to see that. Meanwhile, O'Malley's getting a W with 99 points. That is the curse of fantasy football. You could put up 160 points, but you might just be matched up against a person that puts up 170. And I mean, that's just the way the cookie crumbles at times, That's super unfortunate. It's a week-to-week game, and that's why we're so active on the waiver wires. That's why we're so active with who we should start, should we sit, matchup analysis, right? Like week in and week out, you have to make the best choice to give you the best shot at getting the W, right? Like if I'm going up against O'Malley, I don't necessarily need to start somebody in my flex that is boom or bust, right? Like if I can get 8 points per player, I'm going to win against O'Malley. The math isn't right there. I mean, you only score 80 points and O'Malley would get the W, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like I don't need to put up 140 to beat O'Malley. But if I'm playing Pebbles or Stu or, Evan in this case last week, I I need to put up some big points, so I might take a risk on a boomer bust player. Will Fuller, Deshaun Jackson, some of these Marquise Brown, some of these guys that they may have 3 catches for, I don't know, 60 yards each and 3 touchdowns. Yeah, or a fat goose egg, right? Like, I'm not trying to fish for 7 points if I'm trying to put up 150. Let's see. Yeah, Ezekiel saw the deal. Congrats on your first win, Buckaroo. It was a long time coming. Your team wasn't as bad as your record indicated. I'm glad you got one going, though. It was pretty funny. The hindsight hut should have started Pollard over Ezekiel Elliott. Who knew? Who knew? Yeah, so that puts my overall picking record on this season at 10-8. So I'm still above 500. That makes me better than a Padre, thank goodness. But not the greatest. I'm like a middling team right now. What does that make me? I'm like, am I the New York? No, the New York Jets aren't gonna win shit. I guess I'm like the Denver Broncos right now, maybe. The Giants with that win. I'm like the Colts. That's who I am. Anyways, this is a fun fact. Nah, I'm not gonna use that term. That's Colin's thing. Out of all the scores, I've got them plotted here. The median score from this week was 123 points. So, do you guys remember back when like triple digits was the goal? I swear, like, obviously we switched to half point PPR, but I think it's just kind of a sign of the times, right? Like the NFL is a very offensive heavy league now with all the player protection rules. And so I think players are just putting up way more points. And so back in the day, you were stoked to get 111, right? But now, if you score 111, you're in the bottom 5 of our league this past week. That'd put you just above Max. And, I mean, he was the number 8 on the week overall. So that's kind of shined a light for me, at least, on what I should be targeting each week, assuming the matchup, right? But yeah, it's kind of cool, and I for one don't mind it at all. An offensive league is very fun to watch. Don't get me wrong, watching the Bears defense go buck wild on Joe Flacco, that's fun too. But being able to just enjoy what Pat Mahomes has done for the league, yeah, it's cool. NFL doing great things. Protect those players. Though the referees need to figure out what the fuck they're doing with these subjective penalties. What is pass interference anymore these days? I don't know. When are we gonna get these guys to retire and get some like young bucks, some college blood out on the field? Let's get some recently graduated, didn't make the NFL, college players refereeing these games and see what happens. I mean, remember the NFL referee holdout or whatever they did? And we had those like backup referees, and it was just awful. I'm assuming that we would be better, right? If a bunch of 30-year-olds came in, let's get some 30-year-olds in the broadcasting booth. I'm tired of listening to old white dudes talking about the game. Let's get some youth out there and see what we can do. See what happens. Tony Romo, young dude, killing it in the broadcast booth. That's just an example of what could be. All right, so yeah, done with last week. There's a couple of fun storylines actually that I noticed when I was kind of looking through the league and deciding what I was going to talk about. It's some pretty extensive research, more like looking at other teams that I've ever done before, and I noticed two fun little storylines. The first of which is Max and his quarterbacks. Last year, this was a great storyline, right? Did Max start the right quarterback? And more often than not, it was no, right? When you carry 4 quarterbacks on your on your team, your odds are pretty shitty that you're going to start the right quarterback. And so this year, he's carrying 2. He's got Baker Mayfield and Russell Wilson. And so far this weekend, well, we'll just go week by week. Week 1, he chose Baker Mayfield over Russell Wilson. And that was the wrong choice. Baker put up 9 points. Russell put up 17. Week 2, he chose Baker Mayfield over Russell once again. And he chose wrong. Baker put up 16. Russell put up 24. That's, pretty annoying if I'm Max. I think I'm going to start Russell week 3, right? Wrong. Week 3. Chose Baker Mayfield. Put up 9 points. Russell, we heard about this on Stu's podcast, put up 41. The king of garbage time put up 41 points. You hate to see that. And you would wonder, what are the matchups like, right? Well, last week specifically, Baker played the Rams. Rams have given up the 3rd fewest fantasy points to QBs. Russell put up 41 against New Orleans, who gives up the most fantasy points to the quarterback position. I mean, that's kind of brutal. This is with the benefit of hindsight. Obviously, both their 9 and 41 point performances are included in those. But yeah, let's see. Week 2, Baker was playing the Jets, and Russell was playing the Steelers. I think I go Russell there as well. I don't know. Baker Mayfield is overrated. Fuck it. The next storyline, and this one's a new one for this season, is Pebbles tight ends. He has 2 exemplary tight ends, Mark Andrews and Darren Waller. I guess they're not exemplary if this is a storyline, right? Essentially, one of them sucks, one of them is good. Did Pebbles choose the right one? Week 1, he was incorrect. He chose Waller, who, put up 10 points, so that's not that bad. But Mark Andrews put up 20. So you would love to have those extra 10 points. Doesn't matter because Pebbles is 3-0, but chose wrong. Week 2, he tried to make up for that mistake and started. Never mind. He started Waller again, despite the fact that Andrews did better. And he got 9.3 points from Waller, and Mark Andrews put up 21. Yikes. That's a big fuck up. All right. For other mortal teams, that would have been probably a deal breaker for getting the W. Then in week 3, this is when he decides to finally follow the trend. Starts Mark Andrews, gets a whopping 3 points. Huge bummer. And Darren Waller goes off for 20 with 13 receptions. That's nuts. Bummer, dude. I am not jealous of your situation. Maybe when Melvin Gordon comes back, you just start both. Do the double tight end thing like Stu and Adam were joking about. Or just trade one away, and then you don't have to worry about it. That might be the option too. All right, here we go. The next section is brought to you by Trump's impeachment. You might have heard about us in the news. How does the old saying go? There's no such thing as bad press. I feel like that's not right in 2019. There's definitely some bad press. But yeah, here we go. Back to the script. Come on down to Trump's impeachment for the most orange, full-bodied, hairless peaches. It says here, if I know anything best, it's peaches. I've said it since the beginning. Peaches and business. Why not combine them? We've got great people. We've got great land. We've got great peaches. And worms in our soil. We've got the worms in the soil. And that's why we've got the best peaches. And trust me, I know peaches. Trump's impeachment. Get your peaches today. Yeah, you know what? I'll take money from anybody. Times are a little hard on this side of the California. Down in Southern California, where sponsors don't have that tech money. We got that fruit of the land sponsorship money that we gotta depend on. We got a bunch of farmers and a bunch of alcoholics down here. Anyways, this next segment I thought is pretty cool. We added FAAB. We added a budget and a bidding system for waivers 2 years ago now, 3 years ago. And I'm kind of curious how that pans out, right? Like, there's always like, oh, fuck, like the waiver wire hits. You see that you lost your bid to some idiot who way overbid on a player. And then that's kind of the last that I ever personally follow up on those players. I talked a little bit about how people mismanage their money in the first episode, how certain people just kind of wait forever for that quote-unquote league-winning player to come along, right? Like if Zeke gets hurt and Pollard is somehow on the waiver wire, you just blow $100. Max did that 1 year. Scott did that last year for Ian Thomas, real coveted player. So what we're gonna do here is look at all of the players that had been bid on and how the owner chose to use them. And I'm only focusing on like position players, I guess. No defense. Not gonna include that because, right, like those are obviously just streaming. You're just streaming your defense, right? Quarterbacks are kind of the same, but yeah. And I'm only doing the weeks 2 and 3 because fuck it. So first up, we have Raheem Mostert, the Mustard Man. Brad was the lucky winner. There were three owners bid on Mr. Mustard, and the winning bid was $21. That's not bad. 21% of your total budget on a Niner that you know is in a complete timeshare. That's okay, right? The Niners running backs are averaging like 10 yards per carry collectively. And that was after the news that Tevin Coleman got hurt. So, 21, not that big of a deal. That being said, the next highest bid was $3. So, overspent. But fuck it. You wanted a guy, you went out and got him. So what'd you do with this $21 player? Week 2, first week you have him, you benched him. That's what $21 is worth. A backup player. When he was benched, Mustard put up 22 points. That hurts. So then you corrected, made up for your mistakes. Sounds. Fuck yeah. Tevin Coleman's still out. Week 3, you started him, got 5.9 points. That's a bummer. You hate to see it. And you got the L. Better luck next time. The future is still bright for old Mustard. Maybe not. Tevin Coleman's coming back. They're on a bye week. Did you pay $21 for for 6 points total. That's kind of brutal. What is that? That's 28 cents per point. That doesn't make no sense. That's Weaver's Podcast Math, brought to you by Google Chrome. Sick. Next up, we got John Ross. Colin was the winner of this bid. This was after he blew up. He got an absurd number of targets, 12 targets against Seattle. Put up 32 points, week 1. Of course, there's going to be a huge bidding war. 6 people bid for him. Colin won it all with 15. Just barely outbid Stu with 13. So what did Colin do? He started them both weeks since then. Week 2, he got 20 points. You love that. Hot free agent pickup. Put him in your roster. 20 points. Helps you get a W. Well played. Then week 3, John Ross, I think he was like hurt going into this matchup, right? Something. I think he might have been questionable. But going against Buffalo Bills defense in Buffalo, put up 1.2 points. Got the L. So mixed bag of results for Colin, but he did get a dub with that $15. I think that's a budget well spent. Next up, we got Ronald Jones the second, another member of the second club, and 3 players bid on this guy. Ev Dog was the winner for $9. 9% of his budget spent on a Buccaneer running back. I hate that. I would not spend any money, and I didn't. I didn't even bid. But that's just me, right? Everybody has their needs. Everybody has their wants. I want to stay as far away as possible from the Buccaneers running back situation. This could be a fun storyline with the earlier section. Who scored better on the week? Was it Ronald Jones or Peyton Barber? Because this is a fucking crapshoot that I want nothing to do with, and I'm sorry that you have to. Spend $9 on him. What have you done with him? Nothing. Spend $9 on a bench player. Week 2, he scored 0.9 points. Great bench. And then week 3 was actually Ronald Jones' week. He scored 12.6 points. That would have been nice to have, probably. Though you didn't need it because you still got the W. So good benchings overall. Remains to be seen what happens with that $9. I mean, I guess with this guy, you're just holding him and hoping that Peyton Barber gets hurt, right? Like, this is kind of like a timeshare / handcuff situation. Clearly, one running back is valuable in Tampa Bay. So if one of them mysteriously vanishes, there's value to be had. Next up, Scary Terry McLaurin. I was pretty bummed that I missed out on bidding on this player. I actually just fucked up, never pressed enter. I was going to bid $21 and I would have won. Five people bid on him. Sones got the W with a $16 winning bid, $4 more than the next closest bid. I think that's entirely reasonable, except for the fact that you've benched him ever since you bought him. So, that's a decision to be made by you, right? Like, what's your receiver situation? You got Mike Evans, Kenny Golladay, T.Y. Hilton. All right. And Christian Kirk. Yeah. I probably would have benched him too. In week 2, he put up 14.7 points. In week 3, he put up 16 points. So you have a solid receiver on your bench. You now have the luxury of choosing receivers based on matchups, which is kind of dope, but also my nightmare, right? I always choose the wrong player. So maybe I'll add that to the next week's storyline too. Did Brad choose the right receivers? Because you are stocked. maybe you can trade one away and get a middling running back to replace Duke Johnson, suck-ass Jr. Not that he's sucky, but in fantasy terms, he's not the greatest. For such an explosive offense, you would expect a running back on the Texans to do better, but nope. Next up, we got Chris Thompson. Colin was the big winner of Chris Thompson, and I actually really love this this pickup. He won with an $8 bid. Luckily, he was somehow lower on waiver priority than O'Malley. This is pre W against me. Pre I don't know what else it's pre, but Chris Thompson, the Redskins are going to be behind a lot this season, and when they are, that's when Chris Thompson flourishes. So what did you do with this $8 player? You started him immediately. You needed to, and you got 7.6 points out of him. That's what an $8 player gets you. And then week 3 against the Chicago Bears, he put up 12.8 points on your bench. I respect that benching. I don't think I would have started. Well, depends on my team, I suppose. The Bears are scary. I guess you know the Redskins are going to be behind, so a lot of screens, a lot of throwing. You opted for Nick Chubb, Devontae Freeman, and then Mike Williams out of your flex. Mike Williams got you 6 points. Yeah, so Chris Thompson would have been good for you there. Yeah, hindsight hut already kind of went over how you fucked up that flex spot. It's okay. Next up, we got Demarcus Robinson, D. Robinson. Who the fuck is that? Nah, this is, to quote Pebbles, you start any player on the Chiefs, especially wide receivers. And so he had blown up in week 2 against Oakland. He had 33 points, 172 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Of course, there's going to be a bidding war on him. We had 6 people put bids in. And this is a guy that, is kind of a rental, right? This guy's going to have playing time as long as Tyreek Hill is out. But how long is that going to be? You never know, right? Because we got Nicole Hardman. He was supposed to be the next guy up alongside Sammy Watkins and Tyreek Hill. So this is a $24 rental player, potentially. I mean, maybe he just plays so well that he earns a spot. Maybe they just start running 4 wide receiver sets. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know why they ever run the ball. Pat Mahomes is crazy. But yeah, $24. The next highest one was me with 16. I thought that was going to do it, but nope. Bacon swooped. What did he do with him? He put him on his bench. $24 to ride the pine. That's good for him. What a great career move for Demarcus Robinson. Who are some of the great... Oh, this is when having other people around is phenomenal because you can just spitball ideas and then you're not just depending on your own collection of knowledge. Some of the all-time great backups. We got to go Sam Bradford. He's been paid a ton of money to just ride the pine. Who else is there? Oh, who is that the Packer quarterback that played pretty well when Aaron Rodgers went down and then signed a fat contract with Seattle? Sucked. And then went back to the Packers. Not Brent Hundley. I don't remember his name, but is he even still around? He got paid a boatload of money for flash in the pan performance. Kudos. He's not going to have CTE, and he's going to just live the dream. That's awesome. That's what I want. So instead of Demarcus Robinson, he went with Peyton Barber. Bacon, what the fuck? All right. Yes. Well done, Bako. Yes. Oh, yeah. Peyton Barber comes up later. Bacon spent $24 on Peyton Barber. Okay, so there's no like real value there, I guess. Starting your $24 man over another $24 man. Took a shot, rolled the 50-50, and chose wrong. Peyton Barber did not score for the Bucks. That was Ronald Jones' week. So I guess as long as they stay in every other cycle, start Peyton Barber this week, Biggin. You'll be good. Three people bid for Peyton Barber. Stu bet $21. I think he was probably pretty confident he was gonna win with a $21 bid on Peyton Barber. But yeah, Aiko showing some serious Sacco skills right here with questionable bids. Hmm. Hmm. But yeah, you defended yourself in GroupMe. Beginning of the season. Time to get these players. They're showing up now. Jobbers aren't just gonna suddenly turn into ballers in week 8, right? There's that whole debate over opportunity versus talent, right? Right now we're kind of dealing with some of the talent showing up, a little bit of opportunity. Yeah. Speaking of opportunity, we got Deebo Samuel. He had some opportunities last week. Dropped a beautiful pass from Jimmy G. It's pretty exciting to see this kid ball out. Bill outbid 2 other players. One with $10 bid. The next highest was 5. So, I mean, this is pretty solid. Bill's wide receiver situation is Keenan Allen, Tyrell Williams, and Curtis Samuel, Chris Godwin. He's got some receivers, but Deebo gives him some strength. He can hold on to him, see if this rookie pans out. If he truly is something special, boom, this might be a great late season hold. And Bill off to a 3-0 start can afford that, right? Like a team that's struggling maybe doesn't necessarily have the ability to like wait and see with a rookie receiver. Next up, we got Andy Dalton. I think we've all owned him at certain, maybe his middling teams have all owned him. Have championship teams owned Andy Dalton? This guy's crazy. He's an anomaly. He, I think, has thrown the 3rd most touchdown passes since he joined the league, and yet he is still just such a garbage, you hate to have him on your roster player, which is nuts, right? Because he's throwing the ball to AJ Green. He's got Tyler Boyd. Joe Mixon is awesome. Maybe just like Marvin Lewis has held him back. Or, I guess they always kind of focused on defense. They were supposed to have John Ross was supposed to be a boss, but it's taken a little while to develop. Didn't they have another first-round receiver pick? I don't know. 2 owners bid on him. $2 was the winning bid. Bill, I guess. Are you going to replace Jameis Winston with Andy Dalton? That makes me nauseous. Just thinking about that. That's no fun. Ugh. On to the next one. Ty Johnson. Evan got him. Ty Johnson is supposedly working his way into the circuit, into the committee. He was supposed to be in a full timeshare with Kerryon Johnson after CJ Anderson got cut. Didn't work out that way. He got 4 carries for 5 yards. He got 1 point. That's a bummer. But not the worst thing. Only spent $4. Evan benched him. Great benching. I don't think anybody was really expecting anything crazy out of him production-wise. Like, Kerryon Johnson is still just a baller. Just somehow choosing not to use him. And they're playing Philly, who used to have a good defense. I don't know what's going on with them this season. But, yeah. Next up, we got Devin Smith. This was the reason we're bidding on this, guys, because Michael Gallup got hurt. 2 owners bid. O'Malley won with a $3 bid. Actually, it was a tie. Oh, wait, this is weird. Invalid claim due to previous transaction. Yeah, that's weird. What happened? O'Malley, you're gonna have to explain yourself on this. Anyways, 2 owners didn't bid, just 1 owner bid. So O'Malley, you made a claim, probably using the same player. You were probably cutting the same player, and then the first one went through. So then this one couldn't go through, but somehow you still got him. That's weird. Anyways, what'd you do with him? You benched him. He scored 4.9 points. Good benching. Next on the list, Frank Gore is the shit. I love him to death. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He keeps going. He's just blue-collar man. Everybody loves Frank Gore. I don't think there's a single Frank Gore hater on this planet Earth, except for maybe like Devin Singletary owners who just want him to retire for the young gun to come in. But you can't hate Frank Gore and what he's doing with his career. He's he's now on Max's team. Max won with $14. He outbid Adam for $9. Adam's just over here collecting running backs like a fucking running back collector. Super clever. But Max bought him, $14, benched him. It's kind of a bummer of a benching because he scored 16 points. You know you're going to get a middling line from Frank Gore. 14 carries, 70 yards, 1 touchdown. That's the most Frank Gore line that you're ever going to see. All right, like he's not going to bust out any 75-yard runs. No Saquon Barkley breakouts. No Derrick Henry jogging away from the defense for a touchdown scores for Frank Gore. He's going to give you a solid 3 to 6 yards per carry and maybe a touchdown. So I hope that he keeps playing for like another 3 years and somehow just breaks records, all of them. Brett Favre style. Or maybe not Brett Favre style, but yeah. Next up, we got Will Dissly. This is Bacon. This was actually a very smart move by Bacon. He knew that Kittle would be going on bye week this coming week, so he got involved in a tight end that is a very quality tight end a week early. He won the bid with $9. He outbid 3 of us. And now he's got a quality tight end start against the dog shit Cardinals week 4. Kudos, Bacon. I hope he wins you your matchup. This was obviously a bench because you have George Kittle, best tight end in the league. You're not going to play Will Dissly over George Kittle. And, maybe you can flip this $9 player into a contributor somewhere else. Oh, God. Speaking of Bacon's team, I just want to say, and I don't remember if I've already said this, but last week I did surprise studs on the season, and only one person noticed. I don't even think Bacon noticed that all of my surprise studs were Bacon's team. Through and through. Coming out of the draft, I thought Bacon had the worst draft. I was talking shit on it in real time. I had to apologize. And yeah, he had a better record than me. He was blowing up, scoring more points than me. He's ahead of me now in the standings. And so I thought it would be super funny to just I'm surprised. I was shocked by his team being so good. And so that's I chose all of his players as surprise studs. So kudos to Brad for being the only person that mentioned that fact and for noticing. It's I was cracking up to myself because I thought it was super funny and I was hoping that somebody would notice, and you did. You answered the call. Well done, Oaxaca Sones. Finally, last player, Rex Burkhead. This one stung. Adam, you love stealing players from me. You don't even need any more fucking running backs. You benched him, but you won the bid with $6, and you outbid me. I bid $5. You benched him. He scored 15.9 points. He didn't need it because you were just running train on poor little Colin. But yeah, how many running backs do you need? Zeke, Aaron Jones, Philip Lindsay, Tony Pollard, and Rex Burkhead. Fuck you. Give me Rex Burkhead. All right, so that is all of our free agents. Those are mixture of success and failure from across the league. I'll probably do another segment like this a little later in the season, but yeah, it's kind of hard to track. So the more weeks involved, the more difficult it will be for me. But you all don't care because you don't see any of the prep work that goes into it. Stu knows how much prep goes into this. Maybe Colin, Bacon, and Adam, and Bird, they all know, but none of you guys know. All right, enough with last week, enough with the past. We're moving on to the future, to the present. Since, week one, or I guess Thursday night football has already happened. First matchup we got Humphrey Sextor versus Scott's shitty team. Love the rename, fully embracing the Yahoo scheme. I got me. I'm gonna bet on me to beat Scott's shitty team, even though I think that I have beat Scott once. We play each other every year, and I think that I have only beat him once. There was one year he eliminated me from playoff contention on his bye week. He had stacked his bye week. He had 6 or 7 players, and each one of them put up like 20 or 30 points, and I lost. And it was the most disgusting, hateful day in my fantasy just career. It was so sad. I still remember, and it's such a bummer. Fuck you, man. You're going down this week. I hope Devontae Adams. Of course, he would put up 23 points on Thursday Night Football and then get hurt. I hope he's not out for a long time, but you never know with turf toe. That's the type of injury. It's usually week to week that keeps players out for an entire season. So that'll be a bummer. But I'm hoping that Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins remember that they're friends with the end zone and work together to get there. Michael Thomas is going to be in a shootout with Dallas, and Tyler Boyd is just going to wreak havoc on the Steelers. So I'm depending on my receivers to carry me through this one. We shall see. Next matchup, we got another powerhouse Clash of the Titans. First place versus second place matchup. Locketed, Cocked, and Loaded versus Jameson Carbomb. I'm going to go ahead and bet against Bill this week. Last week I bet on... Oh, did I bet on him? No. Who did I bet on? Last week I bet on Bill's fantasy defense. This week I'm betting against it. There's a little bit of... I don't know. I'm not really taking Thursday Night Football into account here, but I think that Bill's in for a rough week. I don't know that O.J. Howard and Chris Godwin are going to perform against the Rams. I think Aaron Donald is going to feast on Jameis Winston. But more importantly, you got Tyler Lockett against the Cardinals and Chris Carson. They're going to feast. Austin Eckler, best running back in the league, is going to feast against Miami's hapless defense. The only problem with this is that Justin Jackson is in a walking boot right now. So there's a very real possibility that Melvin Gordon suits up. Even if he's in a reserve role, I mean, if the Chargers are up by 28 at halftime, who's gonna kill the clock, right? Like, is Eckler then the de facto backup? Like, is he gonna just play the whole game and let Melvin Gordon be the starter next week? That's kind of a weird decision, right? Like, Melvin Gordon's supposed to be the backup for this game, so does he come in for garbage time? That's kind of a gnarly decision. Darren Waller's got the Colts. They have a surprisingly difficult defense to score against. Kamara, I think Saints Dallas is going to be a fun shootout, game of the week. Sunday Night Football, those have been lit recently, so I think Pebbles takes this one. Next up, we got Kittle and McShits versus Kyler Barely Newer. I'm picking Stu this time around. We have Bacon starting both Mohamed Sanu and Calvin Ridley for the Falcons. If they have a bad game against the Titans, you're screwed. Peyton Barber, starting Peyton Barber. If the every other week switch off between him and Ronald Jones works out, Peyton Barber is going to be the dominator. Oh, yeah, dominator this week. I think Stu's going to take this one. Unfortunately, it hurts to bet against you, but a smart man bets with his wallet and mind, not his heart. Next up, we got Ezekiel Saw the Deal versus Kaimi Maybe. This one's easy. O'Malley just has terrible luck. I hope that Sonny Michel can get it together for you. David Johnson is the man. He should find some pay dirt against the Seahawks. And golly, hopefully Juju turns your season around, O'Malley's. But yeah, I got Adam on this one. Then we got Hawk and Cock over Maxwell Dunn Jr. I love that he keeps changing his name to different iterations of his soon-to-be daughter's name. Sorry. I don't know, that's not that funny. Hawk and Cock's taking it to him. We got the Russell Wilson DK Metcalf stack against Cardinals. That should be fruitful. Newly acquired Odell Beckham Jr. That was very anti-rabbled. There was no rabbling with a trade. Have we finally grown up and are finally softening our stances on trades? Odell Beckham Jr. for Melvin Gordon and was it DJ Moore? That's a pretty fair trade, in my opinion. I think maybe Max was hoping that Melvin Gordon would stay out a little longer, because if he keeps Melvin Gordon, he's got the best running backs in the league. Todd Gurley, Dalvin Cook, and Melvin Gordon with David Montgomery, like just riding pine. You're waiting for Matt Nagy to realize that he has a stud running back. And then if anything happens to Todd Gurley, right, like he's having a rough season, you can choose to bench him if you want to. You don't never want to bench your first round pick, but anyways, now you have an explosive receiver, solid running backs. Max has got a good team. Hawk and Cock is going to take this one. I don't know if y'all know, but Hawkinson dropped 2 touchdown passes last week. And he's always a talking point. He scored 0.6 points last week. But yeah, two of those 4 targets were in the end zone, and he dropped them. So that's not going to happen again. The opportunity's there. They're playing Kansas City. Hawkinson, I'm going to take a bet with myself that Hawkinson scores over 10 points this week. Somebody keep me accountable, huh? All right. Then finally, we have a true comeback story over Fuck Me Right. And this one is solely because Colin is not watching his team at the U. And every time that has happened, he has lost. And every time that he has watched at the U, he has won. So I think he goes 1 for 3. He's been away from the U for 3 weekends. I think Evan's team is annoyingly good, despite the fact that he's missing Antonio Brown. Total bummer that situation, but you're making it work. You picked up Paul Richardson to kind of to sub in for AB. Can you imagine having AB over Paul Richardson Jr.? That's a huge upgrade. You had Wayne Gallman, great handcuff management. I drafted 4 handcuffs. Currently, 0 of them have paid off. You drafted 1 or had 1, and it worked. Well played, sir. Hopefully, you're able to survive and get a couple W's while Saquon heals his way back, and you get him in time for a little playoff push. That'd be pretty sick. But as it stands right now, you're without your number 1 and number 2 round picks. That generally means you're headed for Sacco land. So you're sitting at 2-1. Hopefully you can stay strong. I believe in you. Pat Mahomes is going to take you to the playoffs, I believe. All right. That is it. That's all I have. This was a little bit long. Wow, 56 minutes. Kudos. I was aiming for like a 38-minute session since Adam and Stu did their whole hour and 25-minute giggle session. That was sick. Maybe we'll have to collaborate one of these weeks. Maybe I'll hop on the Concord train, the midnight train to Concord, and come say what's up. That could be fun. Anyways, I love you all. Happy Friday evening. I wish you the very best this week to everybody except for Scott. But I don't think he listens to these, so that doesn't matter at all. And see you on the group me. Peace.